So to get to the GlowSTX configurator, you're going to go to lfillumination.com. You're going to go to your login page where the login is already set for me. I'm going to log in to the login page. Now, if you have access to our price list, which is our agencies will have access, if you're not an agency, if you're a distributor or a end user, you will not have access to the price list. You will not see this. You'll just see the GlowSTX configurator login. So if I click on this, it will bring me to another login page where you will then type in your username and password. So you will have a username and password given to you. If you do not have a username and password, it will be the same for the login page as well as this login page. So please reach out to your LF Illumination representative and or the factory, and they will set that up for you. The products page from LF Illumination's configurator allows you to product manage different projects you are doing with the GlowSTX. You will see here I have many different options for projects I can choose from. I have the tutorial, a project called the Envision, and a few others just as test runs for this configurator. What this will allow me to do is manage each project that I have, so I can look at these projects and I can drop down and see the bill of material of each project. So if I click on this, you will see the bill of material for the entire project, as well as a split version of the bill of materials for each individual design within that project. What this allows me to do is break this up or keep it all together and see what I have. So if I go to the completed projects tab as well, this is where I would put a project when I want to complete it. So from the draft projects to completed projects, you can complete, and now you know your project is done. It acts as a way for your project management teams to understand that one project may be in a draft stage while another is in a complete stage, ready to be quoted. So this just gives you a little bit of a easier way to manage these projects so you don't have people quoting draft projects that may not be done, or vice versa, they're trying to go in and make changes on projects that need to be quoted or don't need to be changed. So it gives you a lot of opportunity to really organize yourself. But what we can do now is add a new design, and that will enter us into the configurator itself. A room configurator. So when you first start here, you can say, okay, this is a 30 foot by 30 foot by 30 foot room. If I want to make this different size, I can just click on it. I can make this 40, set it. So now you're going to be a 40 by 40 by 30. I can choose the wall height. So if I want to move this wall height to 12, I can update that, move that wall height to 12. If I go to design modes, you have a couple different options here. I'm not going to get too deep into them. If you have any additional questions, please reach out, but you can play with this. You can add soffits in here. You can add different walls if I wanted to add a different wall point. But for the tutorial, we're just going to do a 40 by 30 foot room, and then I'm going to go to design now. So once I go to the design now portion, it will bring me into the actual configurator itself. So now I have a 40 by 30 foot room, and you can start your configurations. So with the online configurator, you're always going to need to start with the starting connector. So if I go back here, you have starting connectors, lights and connectors, power and suspension. Starting connectors, you click on them, give you different options. I'm going to start with a 4-way connector just for the sake of it. Now you have your scroll options and your control options in this little camera right here. So if I zoom in, I can get a better look at this. Some people will like to design in 3D. There's also another mode. So if I go to the eyeball here and go to view modes, I can go to the plan view, and I can also do design in plan view. So you are not limited to designing in 3D. You can also design in 2D. I prefer the 3D perspective. I have some colleagues that prefer the 2D. So for this one, I'm going to try to toggle in between both of them so you guys can get an idea of what this will look like. So now I have my 4-way connector, which is my starting connector. So you always need to start with a starting connector, and this is just a software issue. It is not a product issue, so you don't need a starting connector in theory, but this is just the design of the software that you need these starting connectors. So you're going to have a starting connector, then I can start adding my fixtures. So here I have a whole list of all my different parts and components. I have a couple different pages. I can make it so it all sits on one page. But you can see here you have your uplight, you have your sticks, you have your accent heads, you have diffusion lenses if you want to use those as well. So I'm going to start adding lights and connectors onto this system. So if I want to add a 4-foot, I just pop a 4-foot on, another 4-foot. If I want to take this and I say, you know, I want this 4-foot over here, I just got to click and move right over to the next connector. So all you have to do is click once, hold it down, and then you can go ahead and move to whatever connector is open, because it is always going to generate onto an open stick. You don't have the option to pick on which stick it will generate, but you can just grab it and then move it over. So if I wanted to put a 2-foot stick on the final one, I can do that. So that's a simple way to add your pieces. Now, if I wanted to move these angles, if I wanted to already start playing with it, I can just hold down one of these connectors and then you see the degrees pop up. So if you just click and hold, you can then move them to the different angles that they can go. The key here is the way this works. I am moving my mouse up and down. I'm not trying to go around, because then it won't do what you want to do. All you have to do is go up and go down, and that will allow you to change the angles that you need to. It's a simple concept, but it's a trick that's going to make your life a lot easier. So then I can move on. I can add some different options. So if I want to continue with this piece, I'm not going to go crazy with my design here for the sake of time, but I will add maybe a 3-way on here. So as you see, it just populates to the stick that it wants to populate onto, but I can just grab this piece right here, and then I can just move that right over here. So all you have to do is hold it down, keep it illuminated, and just move it right over. And then from there, if I want to add another couple sticks, maybe I'll add a couple 3-footers. It's only going to add onto open pieces. So I got this configuration right here, kind of an all-ball configuration. I'm going to put some end caps on all of these. So I'm just going to start clicking the end caps until it comes up and says there's no place to put it. Now I have end caps on everything. So I have this configuration with end caps on everything. Maybe I want to take this angle and I want to move that over. Maybe over here. This configuration doesn't make much sense, but that's okay. Maybe move this one along here. And then let's straighten this guy out. And now I have a kind of a, I don't know what you call that, TV antenna. But anyways, so now you have your configuration. I'm going to move over to the power and suspension. So now I can say, okay, what are my suspension rules? You can click, I need connector suspensions right here and right here. So I can click on the connector suspension and just fill those up. You'll notice if I click again, I'll say there's nowhere to put the connector suspensions, because connector suspensions obviously just go on the connectors. So now you look at this, you say, okay, maybe my product's done. You look at your bill of materials, so you click on this little shopping cart, you go to more details, you got all this stuff, and you say, okay, I'm ready to go. How's my power looking? You enable this, enable power chain, click this button right here. It will show that you have no power here, and you know that you need to add more power. So I can add power here. Just click this button. So this is a remote power. Maybe I want it close to over here. Enable this power chain again. So now it's going to come up with the error. You put the power in, it shows the power pass. It comes up with the error that you don't have enough suspension. So the power, you pop this power down, you got a 4-footer, a 4-footer, a 4-footer, 12-foot, 2-foot, 3-foot, 3-foot. You have total of 18 feet. So your power is going to be okay, but it's going to show you don't have enough suspension. So all I have to do here is say, okay, what is my rule? Simple rule of the GlowSTX, 2 powers per stick or 1 per connector. So I will add some suspensions here. So I'm going to just kind of add these in because they'll all populate in the same spot. And then I can just hold them down and move them. So I want one on the edge here, one on the edge here, pop one on the edge here. Give me another 2 so I can go to these edges. And now I have, that looks like a good configuration there. So now I can enable power chain, and simple as that, I now have a blue circuit per se showing where my power is going. So this power right here is powering everything on this glow stick. There's no red, meaning my power is okay. It shows you all the dip switch locations within the product. So you got 1 1 1 here, you got 4 1s here, so they're all set to 1. I'd be all good to go in this configuration. Now, say I wanted to power these kind of separately from this guy right here. I can just grab this and I grab the little individual nodes. So you can just click right here. Then you have this pop up here. I can click this dip switch right here and I can go to 0. So when I do that, that's going to put that value to 0, which stops the power. I can enable the power chain again. You see that power stops. This is all being powered by this power right here in blue. This is being powered by nothing as there's no power. So if I grab a remote power supply again, drag it over, disable and enable again, you will see that I am now powering with 2 different powers, essentially 2 different circuits in the platform. So now you have this piece right here. I can now zoom down. So if you want to kind of get a look of what it may look like in a space, you can get a nice little 3D snapshot here. There is a snapshot option here that you can take, and it will actually send you into an additional page with a snapshot of the product. So that is a nice feature. You also have the ability to print out a 2D snapshot at the end of this. You want to make sure you are saving your design often, because unfortunately, if you get locked out on this product, the software will boot you out and not auto save. So that's why we put in that note to save often to avoid losing your work. So I'm going to enter my design name as tutorial design 1. I'm going to select project tutorial, which is the one I just created earlier, and hit OK. And then it's going to save for me. It'll keep me inside this page. So now you have the ability to save and keep doing your work if you need to save as you go. So now I'm going to continue editing. So if I wanted to add some stuff with this, so I'm gonna get rid of the power chain here. If I wanted to add some stuff, so say I wanted to add a couple accent heads, just pan down here so you can see me add these accent heads. So I'm going to go back to lights and connectors. I'm going to go to the second page here, and I'm going to add an accent head. So I got my accent head here. If I wanted to move that, I just want one accent head, and I want to move to here. Again, it's just a drag. Very simple. And then I can do that again, have 2 accent heads. I want to do an uplight. So let's, just for sake of changing view, let's change to a plan view. So now this is what you look to design in plan view. Again, I prefer the 3D view. I think it's easier, but some people will prefer this 2D view. So now if I wanted to add uplight, you can see I'm adding uplight, and it actually shows the uplight in 2D. Will also show the uplight in 3D as well. So if I go back to my 3D option, it will show the uplight right there. And then even when I enable power chain, so now I enable the power chain, you can see in yellow where the uplight is, it says I'm over power capacity. So that means I have too many uplight pieces and downlight pieces along with the accent heads that are all creating this problem. So now what do I have to do? I have to just add another power. So let's disable this power chain. Let's go back to my power and suspension. Let's pull back the same remote power. So there's different power options. You got the canopy mount, you got just a mono point. I'm using the trimless mini point. Typically you'll use the same type of power. So maybe I want to put this power as far over here as possible, this power as far over here as possible, and let's get over here and put this power just for aesthetically. I want them over here. So now you got this. This is your configuration. I enable it. Over capacity, too many power units. Okay, so this is what I did now. So this is why it's a good test. Too many power units. So what does that mean? I have powers running into them each other at some point. So these two, this is set to 1 and this is set to 1. So these are running into each other. So what I'm going to do for a simple solution to this, I'm going to grab this little guy right here. I'm going to put this dip switch to 0 so it'll stop the power. Hit OK. I enable the power chain again, and now you are good. You have this power running through this dark blue. You have this power running all of this green, and then you have this power running the one piece here in that uplight component. So, and then you have this one's powering that accent head, that green one's powering this accent head. So now you have this complete product. You want to be done with it. You have your bill of material. You say, okay, how do I get everything that I'm seeing here? How do I get it in some type of report? To get to the reports page, let's review a little more in detail some of the features of the My Projects page. So if you go to some of these projects, so if I click on the tutorial project, you will see I have multiple designs that I can highlight, and I have a handful of different options. I can delete the design. I could copy the design in case I wanted to make a small change, but I needed a new design. So I could copy the design, have that situated, and then I can go from there. I can go in and edit the design if I want to continue working. I have the ability to look at the bill of materials. So if I were to click on this option, I can just have a full list of my bill of materials of the specific design. I can go ahead and print that if I wanted to, maybe send it off to LF Quotations team. Or I can export CAD as well. So if you have somebody that wants to import this CAD file into Revit or a BIM model, you can actually export a 3D CAD file that will generate for you, and you can have that product in a 3D CAD file for those BIM models that your clients may be looking for. The most important feature to this is the report feature. So if I click this report feature, once that loads, I will be able to pull it up via PDF. Open this PDF, and here I have my report. So the first page shows your bill of material. So now you have this report. You can print it out. Again, you can send it to our quotes team. You can have this put on the schedule. You can give it to the contractor so they know exactly what they have. And then the second page is a 2D view that tells you a handful of different things. So it gives you the design, so you can hand this to the install contractor, and he will be able to take a look at this, and he will be able to say, okay, I see here that they have a 2-foot uplight, a 4-foot glow stick, a 3-foot uplight as well. Please note that the 2-foot and 3-foot options are nominal length, so they're actually quite a bit shorter than that. That's why they fit in a 4-foot stick. But what this also will allow you to do is show the dip switch settings. So you can see here on this 3-way connector, I have a 0 setting. So that's stopping power, a 1 setting here, and a 1 setting here. You can see that on here. I have a 2 setting, a 2 setting, a 1 setting, and a 1 setting. So now this gives the contractor a roadmap per se to install the specific configuration that he's installing, as well as have a general instruction. A little bit easier for them to install it. So this report is great for both the pricing as well as the bill of material for a construction schedule, as well as the installation of the product itself. So that is the report from LF Illumination's GlowSTX